Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why am I me? Not just a human, not just a brain, but a self-aware, thinking, feeling conscious being. What is consciousness? Where does it come from? And why, out of all the atoms in the universe, does this specific collection of atoms somehow know it's alive? Today, we're diving into one of the greatest mysteries in science, philosophy, and existence itself. The mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is, in the simplest terms, our awareness of ourselves and the world around us. It's the feeling of being you. The inner movie only you can see. The voice in your head that nobody else can hear. But here's the strange part. Science has no complete explanation for it. We can map the brain, track neurons firing, and predict decisions. But how do electrical signals become thoughts, emotions, experiences? This is often called the hard problem of consciousness, a term coined by philosopher David Chalmers. Why does all this brain activity feel like anything at all? Many scientists believe that consciousness arises from complex computations in the brain, like a super advanced biological computer. But if that's true, why don't supercomputers feel anything? Why don't your phone or your toaster wake up one day and say, "Hey, I'm here"? Some argue that consciousness is an emergent property, something that appears when a system becomes complex enough. Others suggest we're missing something fundamental, that consciousness might not just be in the brain, but somehow embedded in the universe itself. Kind of like space, time, and gravity, let's explore a few mind-bending theories. Integrated Information Theory, IIT. This theory suggests consciousness is a measure of how integrated and interconnected a system's information is. By that logic, different systems could have different levels of consciousness. Even a bee, a tree, or your laptop. Panpsychism. This one's wild. It proposes that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like mass or energy. In other words, everything, down to electrons and quarks, has a tiny, tiny spark of awareness. It doesn't mean your coffee mug has thoughts, but that consciousness might be woven into the fabric of reality itself. Quantum consciousness. Some scientists, like Roger Penrose, have proposed that consciousness might be linked to quantum processes in the brain. Events happening at a level so small, they're influenced by the weird rules of quantum mechanics. Mainstream science remains skeptical, but we don't fully understand quantum mechanics either. So who knows? What if consciousness isn't in the universe? What if the universe is in consciousness? Some Eastern philosophies have long believed that consciousness is the ground of all being, that everything arises within consciousness, not the other way around. Even in modern science, questions remain. Does the act of observing reality actually change it? If a tree falls in the forest and there's no conscious being to hear it, does it make a sound? Mind-bending questions, no clear answers. You might be wondering, this is cool, but why should I care? Because understanding consciousness isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's about understanding ourselves. How do we treat animals if they too may have inner experiences? Could we someday build conscious machines? Could we copy or upload our minds and live digitally? Or is consciousness tied to something deeper that can never be replicated? And what about death? If consciousness is not just brain activity, is it possible it doesn't end when the brain dies? We're not just asking about the brain. We're asking about the soul. So what is consciousness? A trick of biology? A universal field? A doorway to something beyond? Maybe we'll crack the code one day. Maybe we never will. But maybe the mystery is the point. Because as long as we wonder, as long as we ask, we're proving that consciousness is real. And it's asking the universe, who am I?